Books are always better, right? We can all agree on that. But there are those rare occasions where this statement might be proven wrong. Today's video is about that, of those rare occasions where the movies or the TV adaptations were a tad bit better than the books. My name is Angela. I'm your own bookaholic brown nim. In this channel, I talk about books and all things related to books. So if you love books just the way I do, please subscribe to my channel. Also, please like, share, and comment. So without further ado, let's give it a go. The first one in this list, actually, this book belongs to a series. I think it's a trilogy or something, but I have read only one book in this series, and that is Altered Carbon. Now, this is kind of a neo noir cyberpunk crime detective novel set in the future, like, I don't know, 400 years in the future. Basically, a science fiction novel. It was the theme, the idea, the plot, the premise was all wonderful and great. But the novel, when it starts off, it's kind of very slow. And I was kind of at the edge of DNFing it, but I didn't. And also, there was so much sex in this book, and not just pure sex scenes, but also a lot of sexual content, like masturbation and sexual fantasies of this guy, and which was not at all necessary for the actual progress of the plot. So that kind of put me off, but I didn't think enough of it. However, the TV adaptation was so different and so much better in terms of quality, in terms of its, fleshing out the characters. Wonderfully done. The set design, the ambience it's created, it was absolutely, futuristic, exactly how we would expect the, cyberpunk future to look like. So I really loved it. So that was Altered Carbon. Next one in the list is Devil Wears Prada. Now, the book for me was very mediocre. I think I rated it 3.5 or something. But the movie was at least 10 times better than the book. It was such a surprise for me. I mean, after reading the book, I was not expecting to like the movie. But I think for me, what just made everything click was towards Meryl Streep. What a performance by her. She nailed the character of Miranda Priestley to the T. Yeah. Amazing. Of course, I loved all the side characters, especially the one played by Emily Blunt, where she's portraying Andrea Sachs. And also, what really clicked was when compared to the books, the humor in the movie is much elevated. There is more humor in it, so we could enjoy the movie much more. The core of the story remains the same. It's just how they portrayed it on the screen that changed, and all the changes, I think, worked in favor of the movie. So that is Devil Wears Prada. I don't know how many of you will agree with my next pick, but I love the movie a tad bit better than the book, and that is The Great Gatsby. Don't mistake me, The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite American classic novels. I have read it and read it many times. It's one of those rare books that I have, reread many times, because first of all, it's not that big a book, and secondly, I absolutely loved that book. I love the passionate love the main character, Jay Gatsby, has towards Daisy Buchanan, and yeah, there are some unfortunate events, some things that I don't agree with him. Kind of like stalking like behavior that he has towards her. I'm a huge fan of Jay Gatsby, you can say. If I have to be frank, there are two factors that made me love the movie more than the book. One is Leonardo DiCaprio, of course. He just portrayed the role of Gatsby so wonderfully. And it's not a surprise, right? He can pull off any character. He's one of the best actors out there. And then the second is the visuals. The visuals were exactly how I imagined them to be while I was reading the books. For example, the gas station scene, like in India we call it the petrol pump scenes, exactly how I imagined the petrol pump to be. The mannerisms of Daisy Buchanan, the way Great Gatsby portrayed his obsession or love or passion towards Daisy Buchanan. So all this was exactly how I imagined, and especially the party scene in Mr. Gatsby's house where the flappers are dancing. That was one of my favorite scenes from the movie. That whole sequence of the dance and the song, I really loved it. So for me, if you ask me, I would definitely rate the movie a tad bit higher than that of the book. So that was The Great Gatsby. I might receive some flack for this, but I'm just going ahead and putting it out there. I just finished reading Fellowship of the Ring a couple of weeks ago, and let's just say it was an average read for me. And this is one of those rare occasions where I have watched the movie first and then read the book. I was kind of disappointed because I think Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Ring is much superior than the book. At least book one. I see. I have to be frank. I haven't read book number two, The Two Towers or The Return of the Kings. So maybe overall the books are better. But so far, just considering The Fellowship of the Ring, I think the movie is better. I felt the visuals, the characters, the casting, and also the screenplay, the way it just weeded out all the unnecessary part and just concentrated on the crux of the story, and a lot of magic and developing that intrigue in us and seriousness of the situation in it. I think the movie was much better. I can watch Lord of the Rings like a million times and still not be bored. But that's not the case with the book. And it is so rare. Guys, I really wanted to like this book or love this book. I wanted this to be my new, fantasy Bible or something, which is to many people. But for me, unfortunately, that was not the case. And I'm hoping the next two books in the trilogy at least will change it for me. I haven't read The Hobbit also. I know that a lot of people love The Hobbit better than the trilogy. So I mean, I don't know. This is just based on the first book and the first movie. Next is one of my favorite movies, and oh my god, I can watch this movie like a million times, and that is The Silence of the Lambs. The book was good. It was, I think, great. I mean, I can just say that the book was great, but the movie was on another level. And again, um, four words: Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. What amazing performances! Every time I watch that movie, I am just blown away by Anthony Hopkins' performance. I think he was born to do this role. And I was so scared, I was so terrified, and not just the first time. Every time I watch it, I'm terrified by Anthony Hopkins. So I'm like, if I ever encounter a man like that in real life, I don't think I can live through the rest of my days. He's so terrifying. He just convinced us that he is this monstrous cannibal. Screenplay, the writing, the acting, the casting, everything was on point. So that's why I'm rating this movie higher than or better than the book. That was The Silence of the Lambs. Next one in this list, guys, again, another favorite of mine. I know I'm saying all of these are my favorite movies, but they are, these are movies which I can watch multiple times and never get bored. And the sixth one in this list that I'm going to talk about now is The Fight Club. Now, I watched the movie first and then read the book. I was kind of underwhelmed by the book because the movie, just took the crux of the story. Of course, a lot of, screen by screen adaptation is also there, but generally the theme, and then it expanded on it and it elevated it to another level. And also the movie had this advantage of using the visual media to its advantage. Like, for example, these microsecond appearances that Brad Pitt makes before we actually see him for real, in that escalator scene where he is passing by and Edward Norton is moving the other way. So that's the first time you really see him. But of course, if you are a fan of the movie and if you've been discussing in all these kind of Reddit forums or YouTubes, you know that all these microsecond appearances Brad Pitt had already made. And I am planning to read Fight Club together with Joanna, and also, watch the movie and discuss the movie and books. So I'm excited about that discussion. So at some point, I want to do and break down all the subtext in this movie. I'm not getting into them right now, but guys, the movie is a pop culture phenomenon. The philosophical subtext, the messaging, is so strong in this movie, and every time you watch it, you take away something new from this movie. I think David Fincher did such a great job with this adaptation, taking this very good novel and creating something timelessly spectacular out of it, like the movie. I would give 10 out of 10 to David Fincher. Before I give you the number one in this list, a few honorable mentions. One is Forrest Gump, the second is American Psycho, and the third is The Godfather. I think these three movies are so much better than their base material, the books. And the number one in this list is Shawshank Redemption. Guys, I love this movie. I know this is one of the most favorite movie, most popular movie of all time, most highly rated in IMDb as well, and rightly so. It's such an amazing movie, guys. I don't have to say much about the movie because everyone and their mama has watched this movie. Stephen King's novella, based off which this movie is made, is is okay. This novella also, it's at best a 3 out of 5, but the movie is just on another level. I mean, I don't have to tell that, right? I mean, I'm so spellbound. I don't know what to talk about this movie, but that's how much I love this movie. Because the movie is based on the novella, the story of the movie is definitely a little bit longer and more developed than that of the novella. But that's not what makes the movie great. The movie is, of course, made spectacular by all the performances, especially by Morgan Freeman. The twist at the end, which I don't want to spoil for you if you haven't watched the movie. And if you haven't watched the movie, what are you doing in life? I mean, just go and watch it. So it's about this main character, Red, played by Morgan Freeman, and his relationship, his emotional turmoil and attachment to this friend that or friendship that he develops with Andy. When I chose this movie as number one in this list, I think I did right by it. If you are to make a list of movies or TV adaptations which turned out to be better than the books, how would that list look like? Please let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Angie signing off. I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye.